Flights operations at Newark Airport were briefly shut down this evening after smoke was reported on an outbound flight. The Republic Airways plane took off for Detroit just before 4:30 this afternoon, but had to turn back around after the crew reported smoke on board. The plane landed back at Newark just after 5, prompting the FAA to temporarily hold flights. The airspace reopened just before 6. There are no reports of any injuries, thankfully, due to that smoke. We'll turn to the weather right now. We are tracking a wintry mix and strong winds tomorrow.
That's right. So windy that all of our area is actually under a wind advisory. The Department of Sanitation also issuing a winter operations advisory. So you may see a small number of salt spreaders helping to protect city streets against the ice. Chief Meteorologist Nick Gregory is here with what we can expect. It was kind of a little miserable for the evening commute today.
Yeah, a little bit. We had some sprinkles out there in the last hour or so across the area. You can see that on the radar here, and it's colder up to the north, so we're seeing some little snow showers there. Some of this is still not really reaching the ground because the air has been a bit on the drier side, but as we go through the rest of the night, there'll be scattered rain and snow showers that'll still be a part of the forecast here. Temperatures are above freezing, except when you get there to Scranton. They're 28, but we're 40 in town of Bridgeport. Temperatures are not going to move all that much tonight. They may drop just a little bit, but the wind, you've probably noticed now, has started to increase. It's out of the south, becoming more southwesterly, averaging about 10 to 20 miles per hour. But look at the gusts now. Gusts are pushing 25 to even 36 to 41 miles per hour as you get up towards Bridgeport, and that trend's going to continue, and you're going to see again tomorrow's wind gusts could approach 50 miles per hour across the area. That's why the wind advisory covers all of us from about 6 a.m. to about 10 p.m. tomorrow night. Now, on the big picture, again, systems coming in from the west. You can see those snow showers sort of making the move as it comes in from the west, and more snow squalls across parts of Michigan. And we'll see, again, rain and snow showers in the forecast overnight as we take a look at our futurecast here. Again, this might accumulate a little bit of a coating to an inch or so North Jersey, really Sussex County, out up into the Catskills region. Then it's just wind and cold and dry weather to take us into the early part of the weekend. But there is hope for a big warm-up as we move into the early part of next week. Steve, Natasha?
That's what I'm holding on to. All right, Nick, thank you. Well, any security concerns or fears not stopping the crowds from gathering for an iconic New York City holiday tradition.
That's right. We're talking, of course, about the lighting of the Rockefeller Center Christmas tree. That's where Fox 5's Richard G. Kovas is live with the sight, sounds, and excitement tonight. Richard, always a special night in the city.
It sure is, Steve and Natasha. This is my 6th year doing it, and for all the people who say, doesn't it get boring, doesn't it get repetitive? No, because there it is in all its glory, the 2024 Rockefeller Center Christmas tree. And when you watch it with the people who are coming here for the very first time, well, it doesn't get better than that. Cue the flurries. And the excitement.
Christmas is here. Christmas right around the corner. As soon as I see it light up, that means holidays are here.
From Minnesota to Mexico, some waiting since before dawn until they could pack the plaza in Rockefeller Center to get an up-close look at the star of tonight's show, the 74-foot Norway spruce from Massachusetts.
Bucket list moment.
It's Christmas in Rockefeller Center, and with thousands of spectators, the NYPD is ramping up security, patrolling this event with extra detail on the ground and in the skies above.
Tonight we have 5 drone teams, and they're strategically placed around the Rockefeller Center tree area. And what they are looking for is any type of anomalies inside of the crowd, if anybody left anything, anybody having a medical emergency. But protests.
And don't forget about the traffic. Heavy congestion and road closures near Rockefeller Center, including portions of Fifth Avenue, go beyond the night of the tree lighting. But plenty of festive New Yorkers and tourists alike aren't bothered by any of that. Not one bit. Because Christmas in Rockefeller Center, well, it symbolizes the joy of this season, year after year.
Just to be together for Christmas.
Hope for the future, peace on earth,
Yeah.
goodwill towards men. This is all about.
It really is. Hope, unity, holiday cheer. Very poetic from that woman. Now, if you couldn't make it out here tonight, the Rockefeller Center Christmas tree will be lit up every day from now through mid-January from 5 a.m. to midnight. But what you may not get is what we got tonight, flurries on the night of the lighting of the tree. Steve and Natasha, I mean, Christmas is here.
Yeah.
Back to you in the studio.
Big time. Nice.
So
Love
iconic.
it. Good stuff. All right. Thanks, Richard. Well, there may be a wintry mix in the forecast, but don't let that fool you.
Yeah, we're still experiencing drought conditions, and that could mean big changes for fireworks shows on New Year's Eve here in the city.
And next month, those gantries will be activated, charging most drivers $9 center Manhattan south of 60th Street. There are discounts, but those who are eligible say there's a lot of red tape to cut through to get them.
All right, congestion pricing is set to start taking a toll on drivers 1 month from tomorrow, and one of the many questions people have is whether they qualify for discounts.
That's right. As Fox 5's Jessica Formoso shows us, those who are eligible say they have to jump through hoops to get a break on the $9 controversial plan.
On Wednesday, the MTA held its first of 8 public webinars on congestion pricing, the agency explaining how congestion pricing will work and the available discounts and exemptions for certain people.
If you are applying for a discount or exemption, you need a New York State EasyPass account to do so.
The new congestion pricing is moving forward, and by next month, it will be in full effect. Governor Kathy Hochul pumped the brakes on the first plan back in June, saying the original $15 toll was just too much for people to pay. Now those entering Manhattan below 60th Street will instead pay $9. However, there are 6 types of discounts and exemptions available, including a low income tax credit for those making less than $60,000. They would get a 50% discount after their first 10 trips every month. Then there is the individual disability exemption plan. To qualify, the vehicle must be registered to an individual with a disability that prevents them from using public transportation, or to the person's caregiver. It's a 2-step process. Applicants must first establish eligibility, and then they can enroll. You will need proof of enrollment, a copy of your MTA's Assessor Ride ID number, or your NYC Disability Parking Permit ID. A copy of an assessment certification from an IDEP eligibility center also works. Second, you will need to have a New York EasyPass account. Proof of vehicle registration. That car must be listed on your EasyPass account. If it's not your vehicle, you will have to get paperwork signed by a notary.
That's a lot to do especially if you're disabled, it makes it a lot harder.
Justin Bustamante says he's a disabled veteran. The vehicle he's now driving isn't his.
Doesn't sound easy at all. It actually sounds like you're going to have to jump through a lot of hoops just to be able to do that.
Applications for the exemptions and discounts can be submitted anytime, but in order to receive the breaks when congestion pricing goes into effect, the paperwork needs to be in and approved by January 5th. In Bayside, Queens, I'm Jessica Formoso, Fox 5 News.
The stowaway who somehow got on board a Delta flight from New York to Paris without a boarding pass is back in the U.S. tonight. She was escorted back to JFK Airport after a previous attempt failed. Multiple law enforcement officers reportedly greeted her at the gate when that flight landed. The stowaway got through various checkpoints and boarded the original flight on the Tuesday before Thanksgiving, but she was not able to enter France because she did not have valid travel documents. The TSA now investigating.
And a Bronx bodega owner appearing in court today after he shot an apparent robbery suspect inside his store on Thanksgiving. He is facing criminal possession of a weapon and ammunition charges. The United Bodegas of America is rallying in support of Johnny Gomez. They say charges should be dropped because the 2 masked men who came into the store were armed with guns, and Gomez was just trying to protect himself and his customers. Gomez claims he found the gun that morning after it was left in the bodega's restroom and planned to turn it over to police later that day.
When you have gunmen coming into your business, you have seconds to react. If you don't react, the situation could be fatal.
In court, Gomez was released awaiting trial. His next court date is December 19th. The 17-year-old suspect's case was referred to family court. The other suspect is still on the run.
Defense Secretary nominee Pete Hegseth DeSantis.
President-elect Donald Trump has nominated Jared Isaacman to head NASA. Isaacman is the tech billionaire who became the first private citizen to walk in space after purchasing a series of flights from Elon Musk's SpaceX. He has close ties to Musk and has founded a number of SpaceX flights in the past. He also never worked for the federal government. If confirmed, he takes over NASA at a time that the space agency is planning to send people back to the moon.
New York City Mayor Eric Adams facing backlash from some Democrats for aligning himself with some policies of President-elect Donald Trump.
Among them being open to deporting migrants who commit crimes. Fox 8's Morgan McKay takes a closer look.
President Biden and President-elect Donald Trump now agree on one thing. The Biden Justice Department has been politicized.
Mayor Eric Adams reading this line from the New York Times, emphasizing that it proves his argument that the federal corruption charges brought against him were politically motivated.
Rest my case.
Ever since the indictment was unsealed, Adams has insisted that he became a target of the Biden administration after he openly criticized their handling of the migrant crisis. But now, with President-elect Donald Trump set to take office in about a month, Adams, in a rare move, took this opportunity to reference the charges he is facing.
Every day before I do off topics, my lawyer said, don't you do it. I can't answer and defend myself. That's the hardest thing.
But Adams' comments are making waves among Republicans, with conservatives posting clips of Adams embracing the incoming administration. Elon Musk even reposting this clip of Adams blasting Democrats like former President Barack Obama for being too afraid to speak out about the migrant crisis.
In the era of cancel culture, no one's afraid to be honest about the truth. Well, cancel me, because I'm going to protect the people of this city.
But while Adams leans into a new Trump administration, other Democrats are making moves. State Assemblywoman Carinas Reyes introducing a bill to enshrine parts of the Sanctuary City Ordinance into state law. She says to protect undocumented immigrants who are only looking to receive city services.
I think some of the comments are misinformed. The moment you kind of deputize state and city agencies to do the work of ICE, it just makes it more difficult for that work, the mission of the agencies, whatever that may be, it may be law enforcement, to operate to its full capacity.
Now, Adams is also working to set up meetings with incoming Trump administration officials. Reporting from the newsroom, I'm Morgan Mackay, Fox 5 News.
Well, coming up, the search is on for the dog nappers police say stole a beloved pet.
Plus, living paycheck to paycheck, you're not alone. Straight ahead, Lisa Evers has expert tips on how to survive money struggles.
The Senate subcommittee got into a heated debate with executives from 5 major U.S. airlines during a hearing today. The lawmakers calling the so-called junk fees tacked on for things like bag check-ins and other assorted costs tantamount to extortion. A recent Senate report showed the airlines made more than $12 billion on seat fees alone over the last 5 years.
They are piggy banks to be shaken down by these skyrocketing fees.
Airlines are paying millions of dollars to your employees to harass people who've already paid.
Customers who prioritize affordability have the option to choose a lower fare product and in doing so, opt out of paying for additional services they do not need.
The Biden White House has made it a priority to tackle these junk fees, and in October, a new rule was finalized that mandates automatic refunds for canceled or significantly delayed flights. While Americans are struggling to pay their bills, the rising cost of just about everything is pushing more people to get a second job.
And while having another source of income is helpful, many people are still barely squeezing by. Lisa Evers takes a look at this alarming trend on this week's episode of Street Soldiers.
The economy is a huge concern for many people. It's impossible to ignore, especially when it seems like prices are going up almost every time you go to buy something. For many Americans, struggling with money has become their regular routine. Take a look at people on their way to work. On the outside, it can look like they're doing well, but they could be secretly suffering from the pressures of having to deal with the rising cost of living. Others quietly take on a second job to pay their bills. The number of people with more than one job is growing, says Bankrate.com senior industry analyst Ted Rossman.
And we've seen the percentage of side hustlers doubling in the past 7 years. Now it's 36% of Americans have a second income stream. A lot of people feel like they need to do this to make ends meet or to have a little bit of discretionary spending money.
Letitia Hodges is a married mother of 3 who's working 2 jobs to support her family. She manages their money with hard work and careful planning. She tells us parents in her Harlem community share information and support each other.
There are big community resources out there. A lot of things in the community are free that your kids still can enjoy. My kids do a lot of academic programs, a lot of recreational programs that are free.
Certified financial planner and author Bobby Rebel says one of the most common mistakes people make with their money is getting emotional about spending and not understanding that they need to take responsibility even when their money is tight.
Be intentional with your spending, with your saving, with your investing, with everything that comes related to your money, because you have to stay in control. Ultimately, you are the ultimate stakeholder in your finances.
We get a lot more great insight from our guests on the next episode of Street Soldiers. I hope you join us for our Surviving Money Struggles show Friday night at 6:30 right here on Fox 5. I'm Lisa Evers, Fox 5 News.
Well, there may be rain and snow in the forecast.
All right, but drought conditions persist in the city, and that's impacting fireworks shows planned for New Year's Eve in many popular city parks.
And it's a breathtaking cathedral right in our backyard that most people don't even know about. Fox 5's Sharon Crowley takes us inside, coming up in tonight's Finding Faith. Well, it'll be New Year's Eve before you know it, and that means fireworks across the city to help ring in 2025. But because of the drought we've been having, there's concerns that fireworks could spark brush fires.
Fox 5's Linda Schmidt shows us what this would mean for the big celebrations in Central Park and Prospect Park.
Well, because it has been so cold, most of us have forgotten about the drought, but we are still in it. And as a result, it is going to have an impact on some New Year's Eve celebrations. You will not be seeing this traditional, spectacular show on New Year's Eve in Central Park. The fireworks are part of the annual Midnight Run by the New York Roadrunners. Because of the ongoing drought, fireworks displays in Central Park and Prospect Park in Brooklyn have been canceled. The city is not taking any chances, especially after the brush fire in Prospect Park early last month that engulfed about 2 acres. There is some rain in the forecast, but
we're not looking at enough rain to really put much of a dent in the drought.
Meteorologist Bill Goodman is with the National Weather Service. He says parts of our area are only expecting about 1/10 of an inch of rain.
That's not very much. We need a lot of rainfall. We're behind about 6 to 8 inches, and it's going to take a while to make up for that deficit.
Instead of fireworks to ring in the new year, Prospect Park is in the process of finalizing plans to put on a drone light show, similar to this one at Macy's July 4th celebration. Linda Schmidt, Fox 5 News.
Well, breaking financial news tonight, Bitcoin has reached another milestone, surpassing the $100,000 mark per coin for the first time. Bitcoin, the world's biggest and most popular cryptocurrency, and has soared since the re-election of President Trump. Today's rally comes after SEC Chair Gary Gensler announced recently he'd be stepping down. He was viewed as being anti-crypto, and just today, President-elect Trump has nominated Paul Atkins to lead the SEC. He's seen as a crypto advocate. The city's Department of Education extending the application deadline for all high schools till December 9th. And students who are applying to the NYC Lab School for Collaborative Studies and Millennium High School have until January 10th to apply that extension because of a technical glitch that could hurt the chances for a number of students from being accepted. The city insists that the glitch has now been fixed and all applications will be reviewed fairly.
And the Supreme Court today seemed likely to uphold Tennessee's ban on gender-affirming care for minors. However, a decision from the High Court is not expected for months. The court's ruling will impact laws in another 25 states related to gender-affirming care and medicines used to treat teenagers. The Biden administration requested the Supreme Court to hear the case, arguing that Tennessee's ban violates the Equal Protection Clause of the 14th Amendment.
Caught on camera, a woman walks into a popular store with her pup, but wasn't counting on dog nappers being nearby. Police say the dog was unleashed and wandered away from its owner inside a Target store in Philadelphia. This is newly released video of the incident that happened back in late October. Police say 4 people scooped up the Shih Tzu and drove off with it. The dog was wearing an air tag, but unfortunately that trail has since gone cold.
Oh, that's sad. All right, did you know that Newark, New Jersey is home to a 45,000 square foot cathedral?
The Cathedral Basilica of the Sacred Heart, considered one of the most spectacular cathedrals in the country, and is even taller than St. Patrick's here in the city.
In a special edition of our Finding Faith series, Fox 5's Sharon Crowley takes us inside and delves into its rich history.
The
Cathedral Basilica of the Sacred Heart sits on a hill overlooking Newark, New Jersey. Builders breaking ground on this historic cathedral in 1899. A growing population of Irish and German immigrants needed more space to practice their Catholic faith.
Immigrants built this cathedral.
Inspired by European cathedrals, builders decided on this majestic French Gothic revival style. The bishop at the time describing it as a fitting monument to the faith.
The beauty of it, it connects you with the Creator.
Perhaps the best way to appreciate the architecture inside is to look up. Father Bismarck Chow is the rector here.
I felt like the whole entire building, all the columns, the windows, all the sculptures were praising God, and my soul was just joining in it.
If you look closely at these magnificent stained glass windows that are all over this cathedral, you may notice something. They also tell a story of the lives of saints or of Jesus, stories all from the Bible.
Each stained glass window has a story. All the stories here in the clerestory are really major events of the miracles of Jesus. This set of rose windows are the largest in the Western Hemisphere, 36 feet diameter, and then the size 26 feet diameter. And so really is, to come here is a prayer. You leave inspired.
I come in here, I feel like I leave my troubles in the door. I come in here, I pray, I reflect on my life.
Andrew Macy is one of those visitors to feel inspired when he entered this cathedral.
The beauty of this cathedral drew me in. I hope it draws other people in as well.
Macy was so moved by what he saw, he started taking pictures using his cell phone. It led him on what he describes as a pilgrimage, visiting and photographing more than 100 Catholic cathedrals and churches around the country. A journey, he says, that has deepened his faith.
Nothing but life-changing for me.
How so?
People I met along the way in the pilgrimage have told me my picture of them, I'm doing the church a great service. I'm showing the beautiness of the churches and the Catholic faith. While it's beautiful and historic, but it doesn't get the attention that it deserves because they're located in an urban area. But St. Patrick's Cathedral in New York City across the river gets all the attention.
It is our responsibility to carry on what our immigrant ancestors did for us. And so we must continue to bring life into this building, into our community.
This year, the cathedral here in Newark celebrated 70 years since it first opened its doors to this community. One of its most famous visitors, Pope John Paul II, in 1995, is now a saint. The Pope's relics are held in one of the small chapels inside the cathedral.
His visit put the cathedral on the map in the whole entire United States and the world.
The cathedral is now listed on the National Register of Historic Landmarks. Father Chow hopes it will ensure that this cathedral will remain a place for the faithful to worship and photograph for generations to come.
We do not close the door to anyone. Our doors are open to all peoples. And that's what the cathedral represents. It's an expression of unity. And they are part of our family as well as they come to our doors.
Sharon Crowley, Fox 5 News.
Absolutely beautiful.
Yeah, for sure.
Well, new developments tonight in the case of a missing woman.
Okay, what police are now saying about the grandmother who they think fell into a sinkhole looking for her cat.
And with all the holiday parties and get-togethers where alcohol is front and center, maybe you should take a tip from a zebra to pace yourself.
The House Select Committee wraps up its 2-year investigation into the origins of the COVID-19 pandemic. Some Democrats say they still have unanswered questions. House Democrats Pushing back on the COVID committee's final report on how the pandemic started, the Republican-led panel wrapped up its 2-year investigation into the virus this week. Among major findings, Republicans say the virus likely originated from a lab leak in Wuhan, China. The more than 500-page report details arguments for the lab leak, but Democrats say there's no clear evidence. It also accuses former top health official Dr. Anthony Fauci of trying to suppress the lab leak theory. Well, 'tis the season where everything, eating and drinking in moderation, goes out the window.
But if you don't want to start dry January early, something called zebra striping could be for you.
And talk about a happy ending. A dog tied to a fence during Hurricane Milton now has a new forever home. Well, of course, we are in the middle of prime holiday party season. That means a lot of food and a lot of booze.
But if you want to master mindful drinking, zebra striping may be for you. Fox 5's Jessica Formoso pops the cork on this new trend.
Oh, zebra striping? No, I have not.
Zebra striping is when you alternate between alcoholic and non-alcoholic drinks.
I kind of like that idea. You're kind of like pacing yourself, kind of not drinking all at once. You're kind of like diluting it with a non-alcoholic beverage. I mean, nowadays, I lean towards mocktails.
Claire is a bartender at the Cottage in Forest Hills. It was the first time she heard the term zebra striping.
It's always alcoholic drinks. There's very rarely did they ask for something that's not alcoholic.
It's clearly not an American thing or a New York thing, but according to a new report, 2024 Low and No Drinking Differently looked at evolving drinking habits across the UK. They found that a quarter of UK drinkers zebra stripe when they go to pubs and bars.
That method is, I think, a good way of managing someone's alcoholic intake.
Why do it? Well, it reduces your alcohol intake by half. 'Tis the season for lots of parties, which means a lot of drinking.
That would be good for somebody that doesn't know how to control their alcohol when they go out, because at the end of the day, there's a lot of drinking and driving, there's a lot of nonsense.
So the question is, will Americans start zebra striping this holiday season?
Seems like a nice way to prevent alcohol poisoning.
If I'm going out, I'm gonna get the job done. It wouldn't suit me, or
why?
People like to drink, have fun in there.
Maybe zebra striping at your work holiday party may not be such a bad idea. In Queens, I'm Jessica Formoso, Fox 5 News.
Cracking up at that girl who goes, if I'm going out, I'm getting the job done.
I have never heard of zebra striping, but I guess it's
switching one drink for one water makes sense for sure.
It sure does.
You still can't have like 22 drinks and 22 waters. You gotta, somewhat reasonable.
Zebra striping in moderation.
Yes,
all right, time for the weather. And yes, that is snow that you're seeing.